Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to Kernels of Truth, brought to you by Progress, Kentucky. We have got a wonderful show for you tonight. After we check in with tonight's co-hosts, we'll be doing a quick Frankfort news roundup. We got a call to action for you coming out of that. And we got Doug Price here with Doug Price is Right with his Kentucky Impeachment Digest Part 2. And very excited to have with us an interview with State Representative Cherlynn Stevenson, who, of course, represents the 88th district. That's my district. I'm very excited that she's my representative. But first, to build a larger, more vibrant and impactful progressive movement here in Kentucky, of course, inspired by the success of Georgia and Wisconsin, we are going to be blending digital media and organizing with grassroots action, sharing our vision for a more informed and compassionate political agenda across our Commonwealth. That's what Progress Kentucky is all about. We're excited to do it. We've got, a couple years till our next election. We want to build some power. We want to make some change. Is that not right? Did I do the math wrong? 2022, right? Oh, right, it's 2021. But no, it's November. So it's, rounding. Couple years. We say a couple years-ish. But to do that work is going to take resources. Honestly, we were just going through the totals earlier, with what it costs to put together this show, all the different tools it takes, and it's money, and we're all volunteers. So you should, throw in some resources. If you want to help us build a more progressive Commonwealth, we would love to have your support behind us. Any amount's appreciated. Thank you in advance. It's secure. It's an ActBlue website, which is very secure, so you can feel confident plugging in your credit card numbers, which your browser probably already remembers. It's gonna be super easy for you. Anyway, so that's the why we're doing what we're doing, and we hope that you will join us and support us. So as we do every week, to our amazing co-hosts, checking in with who they are, where they are, and what does their protest sign say today. And of course, you on the internet, I want to see what your protest sign says as well. So put that in the chat. And what's got you fired up recently in the kind of political landscape. So I'm Aaron. I'm coming to you from Childsburg on Lexington's southeast side, a lovely deed-restricted community, which means there's just a lot of rules about living in Childsburg. And my sign today says, fund education, tax the slots. That's me. Kimberly, are you there?
Yes, I am here. Hi, Aaron.
Hey.
I'm Kimberly Cecil Jones, and I'm coming to you from Louisville, Kentucky, the home of the Run for the Roses, the Kentucky Derby. Actually, my protest sign says today, it's my money and I want it now. Where's my other stimulus check? $1,400. I need somebody to vote to get me my stimulus check.
Promises were made. Promises need to be kept. I hear you. All right. Denise.
Hey, everybody. Hi, it's me, Denise Gray. I'm coming to you from the north side of Lexington, where we are living without a deed-restricted community. We are living freely in our own bodies and our own minds over here on the north side. So my protest sign says, it's kind of lame, you all, but it's a fact. Elections have consequences. And those consequences we are now dealing with in Frankfort.
Oh, yeah. That's not the good type of consequences, just so everyone knows.
No,
not the Washington, D.C. consequences. It's a whole different side of consequences.
No, we're in Kentucky where our elections, for the most part, other than, they have consequences, period. That's all I can say. And so I guess I'm going to slide it on through to talk to you all a little bit about what some of those consequences are. Is that okay with you all?
Yeah, let's do it.
So in the news. So as you all know, may or may not know, tomorrow our state legislators are back in Frankfort to do the work of the people. One thing that has been in the news wherever we turn is the issue of impeachment of our beloved governor, Andy Beshear, who has been in the midst of a global pandemic, has actually kept Kentuckians safe on numerous levels. When other states around us have high records of those who have the virus and those who are dying because of the virus, when they're all escalating, when our numbers are still low, well, guess what? We have some folk over there in Frankfort who think their job is to impeach this gentleman who has been doing the work. We have had several bills that have been submitted, were pre-filed and have been submitted, and some have been passed. Last week, we heard about a stay on which is putting everything in jeopardy that those legislators had wanted to do. Aaron, I see you looking. You're like, really? Yes, there was a stay. Our courts are now involved with many of those pieces of legislation, which we're going to see a lot of these laws being, heard of in court, because we have a constitutional issue, which I guess our lawmakers forgot. We do have a constitution that, hello. So you all also, what's tipping off over here, and I have to bring up, of course, news that's happening in the 28th Senate District. Our senator has proposed a bill 151, which seeks to amend state law to prevent a municipal employee from being a county officer or vice versa. We know that we have this in numerous other areas where it's not a person that lives within, say, Lexington, cannot run for, who's an employee of the city, cannot also be part of the city council. So in other places where we don't have a unified county and city, you have the municipality and then you have the county. So over in Clerk County, we have a gentleman who was elected as a magistrate, who is also a police officer. There are two different sovereignties over there. So the bill that Ralph Alvarado has sponsored will negatively affect this one in particular person, Travis Thompson. And we have people who are elected who are using their leadership skills and their power as a sword. And this is something that I just wanted to address right here. So,
yeah, you get on that. That slimy Ralph Alvarado. I tell you what, Denise Gray, the day that he beat you was a sad day for our state. That would have been a significant upgrade if we could have you in the Senate instead of that joker. So I've got three stories.
Elections have consequences. Keep it going.
That's the theme tonight. All right, so I've got two public education bills I'm going to touch on and a corporate protection bill in our kind of rundown from Frankfort. So this one was a big deal. It was actually one of the issues that teachers fought over under the Bevin administration, was this creation of a two-tiered teacher retirement system. So this passed. This is, a real problem in that, most people probably know this, teachers don't pay into or receive Social Security. So pensions for teachers are an enormous deal because there's not that kind of backstop of Social Security. This bill means that new teachers will not be guaranteed that the same pension payouts of the teachers who are already in the system. So shifting from a defined benefit to a less generous 401k style system, which basically means they're going to need to work longer, they need to put in more of their own money to match, and they're going to not get the same kind of guaranteed return for their pension, which is just sad because teachers don't make a lot of money. And there's, as they move forward with this effort, it's not like the, House Republicans were also finding resources to pay teachers more. Nope. It was just, cutting into their benefits. So that's a sad one. Also, we've got a vouchers bill, a bill to take funds from public education and shift them to private schools in the form of vouchers, which allow kind of per pupil funding to follow the student from a public school into a private school. That's under consideration right now. There's a big effort to defund public education, move the money to less accountable, less organized, less diverse public or private schools rather. That's SB 25, and it's in the Appropriations Committee. So those are two bills to watch, and we'll see what happens with, that the House did pass the first one. The other one is under consideration. Now, if you recall back, we talked a lot during the run-up when we were Mitch McConnell Retirement Committee. We were pointing out that Mitch was working very hard to get a COVID legal protection for irresponsible corporations, right? So they want to make sure that that corporations that kill their workers because they cut corners or kill their customers were going to be protected legally. He thought that was the biggest, most important issue for a stimulus effort around COVID. Thankfully, he lost on that. That was not something that that made it through the way he wanted it. What happened though is that if you know anything about ALEC, the American Legislative Exchange Council, I think. It's funded by the Koch brothers. It's all this kind of big corporate money. And it is like this kind of state legislation creation initiative. So ALEC got behind that corporate protection bill and pushed that out to the states. Of course, it shows up in Kentucky. And so, why not let corporations force their workers back into unsafe conditions? There's a lot of concern that this bill will generally weaken worker safety laws in Kentucky, which are understood to, not be great to begin with. This is HB 10, and that is absolutely one to watch. I think it's passed over into the Senate. So I think it passed the House and is now in the Senate. So keep an eye on that. Those are the three bills I wanted to call attention to. Kimberly, do you have a couple?
Actually, I don't know. It was so much going on between both of these stories and everything. It's so much going on. I pass it over to Denise.
All right, take a little pass. Do you want to talk about the Southworth bill, Denise, or should I?
Yes, I mean, I'm still, I've got the Super Bowl fever. I apologize. I'm just now waking up.
I did not realize you were such a big Tampa Bay Buccaneers fan. I was not aware of that.
No, I was for the Chiefs. I'm sorry we lost last night.
Oh, you're like morning. You're in morning?
Yeah, I just woke up 30 minutes ago. I'm just saying.
Oh my. What a situation. I'll let you go ahead and take it, Aaron.
All right, so this
bill ready to go.
So Adrienne Southworth is a representative. She is part of this whole libertarian crew in Frankfort. She represents like Woodford County and some of Franklin County, and she's horrible. Joe Gravis could have been the senator from that area.
He should have.
Unfortunately, Trump's turnout machine and the coattails of Trump meant that we as a state elected Adrienne Southworth instead, and she's introduced an anti-mask bill, basically prohibiting any life-saving statewide mask requirements. Because why not? Why not?
Why not be free? Why not be free and get the virus and give it to someone else?
I'm sure she likes to think of herself as a good, strong Christian too.
Oh, bless it. I'm a Christian. I believe in protecting someone else. I love
Bless
Jesus
her heart.
too.
I believe God had wisdom. He had wisdom, and He gave us His wisdom. Am I right?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah,
yes. God gave us science. I'm pretty sure.
He gave us science. And I wish that district would have voted for Joe Gravis. And I don't want to. Oh, bless
What was that you're saying about the elections, Denise?
They have consequences, man. Consequences.
Yeah. But it all makes sense, right? So that makes sense because her, dear leader, her libertarian inspiration, I'm sure, our own Rand Paul, he was on the Senate floor doing that same no mask thing, right? So he was embracing her, her protests against masking requirements.
Idiocracy.
Yeah, showing his smug, naked face. Because if he puts on a mask, no one gets to see how damn smug he is. And so, I think that's part of his political, brand. Smug Rand Paul. Anyway, but he was called out He was called out by Ohio's own Senator Sherrod Brown, who, you know, basically interrupted proceedings to say, dude, you gotta, what is wrong with you people? Put on a mask.
Aaron.
Yeah.
Aaron, we all have to wear masks. And if people don't get it by now, I don't know if they're ever going to get it, especially when their leaders don't want them to wear masks. But I did want to say this. To me, he was walking around like, you know, there was nothing wrong, not like there was a pandemic that's erupted all around the globe. And once again, stupidity comes from Kentucky.
Well, no, he's not from Kentucky. He's not from Kentucky. Let's not even put it on mess. He is elected by Kentuckians who have not done their research, but he is not from Kentucky. He came to Kentucky in order to get elected, like so many people that we have representing us, which is something we all need to do like a deep gut check about. But you know something also? The fact that, you know, folk like Rand Paul and others who are claiming, you know, we're being oppressed about this mask thing. You're going against my rights. I think every single time I hear someone, and I'll see someone like Rand Paul walking around, and the person who has Joe Gravis's seat in Frankfort, people like them, they could never walk a foot in my shoes. And that they're claiming that, you know, there's no way they could walk around. This is Black History Month, and I am bringing up Black history right now. There's no way that they can walk in Kimberly nor I our foots are in our past at all. If this is an oppression and you want to be free to do as you want to, there's no way you could be us.
Yeah. That wearing a mask is oppression. Give me a break. All right. So, hey, lots of bills going on. Lots of bills going on in Frankfort. One final one that we want to do for the call to action. And this is do not legalize slots unless it funds the government, right? So historic horse racing has been shut down in Kentucky. Fairly sneaky effort by racetracks to make slot machines legal by calling them horse races and operating them under kind of existing legal authorities. And that is, I will say this, that is going to be fixed in this session. Do not bet against horse racing in Kentucky, right? There's not a more powerful interest group in Frankfort than horse racing. But what we're most concerned about is not necessarily, you know, the historic horse racing slots. It's just how those resources and revenues are being utilized. So it's affecting our state general funds in a lot of ways. There's one thing that they do with it, which I'm not going to fight about it. It actually helps fund purses in local horse races, so that Kentucky has higher purses than other states, because that's how you keep your horse racing industry thriving, is making sure that people want to compete. So I'm not really going to get into the weeds on that one, but what I will say is that we are currently taxing this activity at basically 1/3 or 1/4 of what most states are doing that have the equivalent, have these slots. Those things are worth way more to the general fund than they are here in Kentucky. So that's what I think is worth, that's a hill worth dying on. So if they want to keep these historic horse racing slots going, fine. If they want to make their racetracks into de facto casinos, fine. But if they are going to do that, they need to pay a fair share into the state's coffers, and that's the kind of thing that could fund what we know is horribly underfunded right now. So that's the one I think really important that folks call about that one. Hit up that legislative comment line, speak with the friendliest folks in our Commonwealth. Go ahead and call that legislative comment line. They're the nicest folks. So, you can just say, hey, I'm calling about that historic horse racing bill. Do not pass it unless they also pass legislation to ensure that more of the funds go to the state's general fund or education or things of that nature. So that's it. So as we just said, lots going on right now, stuff moving every single day, and there's a lot to keep tabs on. But what matters is we as concerned citizens have a role to play here, right? Our legislators, the elections have consequences. They're back in Frankfort, and they're not hearing from us nearly enough. And I think it's really important that we speak up on the issues that matter. And if you want to keep tabs on what's moving, strongly encourage folks to head over to Forward Kentucky and check out their bill tracker. Super helpful way of figuring out what's moving, where it is, what issues you care about. You can hear what other groups think about them, and it's a really good resource for the progressive community. So we love Forward Kentucky and what they do, but this bill tracker is a kind of nice new additional resource for the progressive community in Kentucky. So that's what I got. Make your phone calls, talk to those friendly folks, and I think we're going to move on to our new segment with a familiar face, but some new graphics. So Doug Price is coming to us with Doug Price is Right and his Impeachment Digest Volume 2.
Well, the Progress Kentucky team has spoken. Following Mitch's Money is now officially retitled Doug Price is Right. This will be my second segment on the impeachment process being played out in Kentucky. Is the deck stacked? There will be those who will disagree with this thought, and that's fine. That is what should happen. People should form opinions, but then again, those opinions should be informed. This, like Mitch McConnell's love of power and money, is circular. That is my last dig at Mitch, for a while anyway. Let us look at what has happened so far. Jason Nemes was appointed chair the day after he posted on his personal Facebook page that he was not going to be the chair of the committee. Due to the Republican supermajority in both houses, the committee is made up of 5 Republicans and 4 Democrats, with 2 of these being alternates. This Republican majority will state that the people voted for us, therefore we need to do what the people want us to do. That's a fair point. The people also elected Governor Beshear. They also elected AG Cameron and Representative Goforth. All 3 of these have impeachment petitions filed, with Beshear being the most popular, with 3 filed impeachment petitions. In their last meeting, the impeachment committee dismissed 2 of the Beshear petitions, but continues to pursue the first one that was filed. The chair has stated numerous times that the hearings will be very open. So far, the committee has met 5 times for a total of approximately 11 hours. 10 of those hours, over 90%, have been in closed executive session. One of our followers of Progress Kentucky, Betty, noted that what the chair meant was the impeachment committee is open to those behind closed doors. This was a fun play on words, but as a certain Republican legislator repeatedly states, the fact of the matter is there is no openness in this process. Legislators cannot discuss what happens in the closed executive session. In my opinion, Nemes's continued assertions of openness is kind of like Fox News stating it's fair and balanced. This process needs more sunlight. The committee was formed because it is legally required to be formed, Nemes said. No one should get excited nor upset that the committee has been formed. It's just legally required. No decision has been made, so the evidence will lead us to where we need to go. He also said this committee will be run fairly. The governor will have every opportunity to make his case. The petitioners will have every opportunity to make their case. One of the AG Cameron petitioners filed a motion for Nemes to recuse himself due to concern about Nemes's ability to remain impartial. I understand Nemes dismissed this motion. In a Facebook post, Nemes told me that the motion was directed to him, therefore he is the one who had the rule on the motion. Is Nemes the judge, juror, executioner? So far, the committee has made several requests of the governor and the AG, and then followed up later when new information has brought forth additional questions. They have discussed the Goforth petition, but have requested no follow-up with Goforth or the petitioners. Joe Sonka of the Louisville Courier-Journal noted that the committee has requested Cameron turn over any audio recordings or transcripts from the grand jury in the Breonna Taylor case that have not previously been made public. Kentucky Educational Television has an archive of all the open portions of each of the meetings, and I encourage people to look at the proceedings and or watch live. The next meeting will take place tomorrow, February the 9th, after the House has gavelled out for the day, perhaps 5 p.m. Again, I recommend you learn more about these petitions and the process. I will see you again on February 22nd for another Doug Price is Right. Until then, form your opinions based on factual information.
Hey, so Doug Price is right. I love that segment. I love the facts that you share with us. I appreciate the research you do into the process, Doug. I think it's fantastic. It's a huge asset for Progress Kentucky. I'm also going to just point out, if you are, missing the comments, your sister is a big fan of Progress Kentucky and comments frequently. We love Edith. She's from Colorado. And she, I just want to point out that she has a little bit of a problem with the name of that segment because she does not want to be on the record saying that, yes, you are indeed correct. Sibling issues. So just so you know, that's out there. She's got issues. But no, we love Edith. We love Doug. Great crew. Thank you so much. All right, so now we are incredibly excited to welcome onto episode 2 of Kernels of Truth, Representative Cherlynn Stevenson, who is, doing good work in Frankfort in tough times. She is my representative, so I'm incredibly glad to have her here. I voted for her. I'll go ahead and say it. I also distributed leaflets. And my dog got dog treats from her because she, very wise campaign strategy of giving out the dog treats when she's dropping off the literature. And so Bessie is a big fan as well of Cherlynn Stevenson. Representative Stevenson, thank you so much for joining us. How are you this evening?
I am well. Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate being on.
Awesome. Well, so you, I don't know if you've not seen this show before, but this is a digital demonstration. This is not just talking heads talking about, politics and news. Okay. This is a digital demonstration. So we start every interview with the question, what does your protest sign say today? You don't actually have to have it. It's just theoretical, but
Well, if I could have a protest sign with me on the House floor every day, it would absolutely say, it goes over your nose. That's what it would say.
Oh,
looking around, there's a lot of masks that are sitting right here.
That's a good one.
But of course, you can't have a protest sign. You can only have a long gun.
No, we cannot.
You can have a long gun if you like, but you cannot have a protest sign.
Right.
All right. So I got the first question for you, though.
Sure.
How is the session going?
I'm going to be really honest. We're struggling. We are in what we are calling the super duper minority. And so therefore it's a struggle. We have seen all of these bills that are detrimental to Kentuckians, bills trying to take away our governor's emergency rights and provisions. SB 1 would actually take food away from individuals that are hungry. So we should be there doing things that make the lives of Kentuckians better. In a global pandemic, we should be doing things to provide relief to families, to small businesses. And unfortunately, that's not what we're doing. So it hasn't been a very fun session so far, so to speak.
Yeah, I'm sorry to hear that. Reading the news reports, it doesn't seem like there's a lot of prioritization of things that are important to help Kentuckians make their lives better. Denise, you have a question for the representative? Denise, you might be muted.
I was going to ask you more about the impeachment process.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not muted. Well, can you hear me? I'm frozen.
Yes.
Yeah, there was a little lag. You're fine now. You're good, Denise.
Okay. Well, I was going to ask you about that, but you just, we hear a lot about the process right there, what they're doing to Governor Beshear. But you just mentioned Senate Bill 1. And that's something that a lot of people have not heard about. Could you tell us more about that?
So currently under our emergency provisions, we are able, the Department of Health is able to dole out the max SNAP benefit. And I'm not sure if you all have heard, but there's been a lot of SNAP cards that have been sent out to families, maybe even families who didn't need them, but if their child went to a school that was on free and reduced lunch, then those cards automatically got sent out, which is a really great thing. There were no state dollars attached to that at all. There are never state dollars attached to SNAP benefits, but under the emergency provisions, max benefits are being paid out. And so if Senate Bill 1 were to hold and that no longer stands, then that means that over 200,000 families that are currently receiving those max SNAP benefits would start to receive fewer groceries. And also grocers, local farmers stand to lose about $40 million out of their profits just in February alone. So really big deal, really unintended consequences of throwing legislation like that around. But of course, we've all seen that there are multiple states that are dealing with these kinds of things. It's an ALEC bill. It's an ALEC movement to to strip emergency powers and roll back COVID restrictions.
Yeah, that's a tragedy.
And we know that anything dealing with ALEC is not going to be in the interests of the people. So
it is not.
Yeah. We mentioned that earlier in the show. So Kimberly, you have a question for the representative.
Yes, how are you doing, Representative Cherlynn?
Well, how are you?
I'm well. I understand that you have a degree in behavioral sciences, and we have gotten news that Mitch McConnell was going to bring $5 million back to Kentucky for mental health. How can legislators on the state level, how can they make sure that that $5 million, some of that is going to go in their district?
Well, that is something that, depending on how the money comes in and where it goes, my assumption is that if that comes as federal aid to the state, then that would go to the Department of Health for them to help with mental health subsidies. Now, if that comes in a different way and it goes to different if it comes through a different avenue, then that's a different story. However, if it does come through that way, then that's just something that, we all have to try to advocate for our area and for any mental health institutions that could possibly, receive some of that money in aid dollars. There's also the possibility that could come in and could then we could see that in the form of Michelle P. waivers. There's just a lot of different things that could happen with that money. Fingers crossed that it does come in, and figuring out what happens with that money would be a welcome problem.
Absolutely. So quick question. You are known as an animal champion in a state that is consistently ranked as one of the worst in the nation in terms of our animal protection measures. I think largely because the horse racing industry is very concerned about anything that gives any sort of protection to their focus. And so what have you found? What's your priorities right now? Do you think you have any bills that you'd like to share with us that you think need some support or some help?
On that vein, we have had some really great news. House Bill 100, which is our cost of care. So if animals are seized, then it's a process that gets put into place so that the perpetrator would have to pay for the cost of that care while everything plays out in court. I'm sure that you all have seen, that there are various instances where multiple animals are taken. So there's a hoarding case, and those can just really rack up the dollars in just boarding those animals, feeding those animals, any vet care that they need. But that bill is actually going to be heard in judiciary on the 17th. Yay!
Yay!
So, any of you animal lovers out there, if you could help us contact the members of the Judiciary Committee and urge them to please vote yes, that would be really, really helpful.
All right, so that's HB 100.
It is.
It's going to be heard on the 17th in the House Judiciary Committee.
Yes.
All right, you heard them, folks. Make the calls. That's wonderful. Any other questions that folks have, Kimberly or Denise, for the representative?
Yes. So as we know this, or hopefully we all know that this session, you all are establishing the budget for this upcoming year. What is the process? How is that going for you all right now? I know. Yeah.
The process is kind of slow. I'll be really honest. You know, we passed the budget bills procedurally before we took our break from the part one of the session. So we really kind of anticipated that we were going to come back into the second part and maybe pass those, possibly even the first week. But the process has been slowed down. There's not, the Senate and the House are just having a really hard time agreeing, which we know that that's what the conference committee is supposed to do. Unfortunately, there has not been a lot of Democratic input into that just yet. I have not seen where the bill stands at the moment. I think our leaders maybe got their first peek today. So hopefully we'll have more news about that really soon, but it's moving slower than we anticipated.
You know, I'm just so disheartened.
I know.
You know, it's when people, what they do with power when they have it. You would hope that they would do the work for the people.
Yep.
But to shut out one side of the party, one side of, you know, of the table, of citizens of Kentucky is just disheartening. And my protest sign was elections have consequences. And this is what we're getting right now. Yeah. The consequences.
Yeah, you know,
that was my frustration.
We only have 25 of the 100 seats, but we have a lot more Democrats in the you know, in the state than that, and so they deserve a voice too. And I'm you know, really, it's unfortunate that right now we haven't been able to give as much input into the budget. Hopefully that opportunity is coming soon. I'm sure that when that happens, that will probably be live on KET.
That makes sense. Kimberly, any final?
Thank you.
You're welcome,
Cherlynn.
All right.
Thank you for all that you do. I know it's hard.
Thank you. Thank you.
And I'm going to ask you now, like a political question, just really quick. You know, so the conversation we just had, you know, very clear that, you know, Democrats are working for people, the Republicans are working for corporations or, you know, their proxies. Why do you think it is that we are at this kind of lowest of the low in terms of Democratic representation in the House and in the Senate with these, you know, super minorities? What's the like? It seems like the policies are pushing should be popular. Why are the people not, you know, electing Democrats? You know, you got elected. It's a bit of a cliffhanger, right? It took a while for that race.
We had to hang on a few days to find out for sure. You know, and that's a big question that the Kentucky Democratic Party really has to ask itself. And I'm thankful that we have a year without any elections so that we can really get to work and try to figure that out. Because almost all of us were talking about quality, affordable health care and strong public education, you know, things that we would think are not wedge issues are things that most everyone could hopefully agree on. However, you know, it was just election night was a bloodbath here in Kentucky. And so, you know, we all know that there are wedge issues out there that have really deep ties. You know, I don't want to believe that this is truly just an urban-rural divide. I think it goes a little bit deeper than that. But we've got a lot of work to do to try to get out there and really talk to people. And I think that that's something that's going to have to happen. We're going to have a lot of conversations. We're going to have a lot of organizing to try to get back those those folks that used to vote for us on a very, very regular basis. You know, I'm from Eastern Kentucky. I'm from Knott County. And we used to be as blue as we possibly could. I mean, that was Bill Clinton country down there. And then all of a sudden, it's just gone as red as it possibly can.
Yeah.
So we got to really figure that out. I mean, we know that during the Gore-Bush election, that there was a lot of rhetoric really amped up during that time. We all know that Karl Rove is an evil genius. And at that time, we started talking a lot about gay marriage and abortion. And that was really started changing the conversation, I think. And so I think that we've really got to try to work on our messaging and find out what happens or what's happening and what will really start to resonate with people, because what we have been thinking should work has not been working.
Yeah, good points. I know that you're a smart campaigner. I know you also get the value of organizing. I'm not just saying that because the dog treats showed up on my front porch, but there's a lot of folks. You get people out there. You talk to them. You have those interactions, even in a kind of COVID, crazy campaign season, and hopefully that's one we won't ever have to deal with again. To get the word out there. But thank you so much again. Any final thoughts you want to leave us with in terms of the legislature, the legislation,
I think
the
Denise has
legislature?
something.
Yes, just as Representative Stevenson just mentioned about the status of the KDP and us as a Commonwealth, I just wanted to do a quick plug for the fact that this year the Kentucky Democratic Party is going through something that we call reorg. Yep. You all, this is your opportunity to get involved. If you don't like the way that everything has been going politically in the Democratic Party, in this Commonwealth, this is your chance to get involved. So all you have to do is just go to the Kentucky Democratic Party's website, and you can go ahead and sign up to get involved for Kentucky Reorg, because we need you. We need you to be plugged in. We need for you to be ready to make a difference and help out Representative Stevenson and other Democrats who are fighting for our rights in Frankfort. We need you.
Yes. Well, the one thing that I would really thank you, Denise. No, that it's great, because that's what has to happen. I really want to challenge people to start paying attention to what's happening in your state house. It is so easy to follow what's happening at the federal level. We can turn on TV and there is 24/7 news coverage. Some of it, I'm not sure if you really even can call it news, but there, there's constantly information just being thrown at us about what's happening on the federal level. You can open up your newspaper and watch the news, and you see what's happening in your local community, in your city, in your town. But to really follow what's happening at the state capitol and the House and the Senate, you have to seek out that information. You have to be sure that you're watching KET at 8 o'clock on Mondays and Fridays. You have to be following those things on social media. You have to seek out that information. And until we can encourage people to do that, they start doing that. They let their friends and their neighbors know that they need to be following what's going on, because the things that we're doing at the state capitol for 30 or 60 days every year is what affects everybody's everyday life, much more than what happens in Washington, D.C. And when we start to educate folks and get them paying attention to what's happening, realizing that their elections have consequences, realizing that when you vote for people because they want to say, yes, I'm with you on this wedge issue, but then they're turning around and they're voting against public education. They're voting against people who are hungry. They're voting against people who have healthcare needs. I think it's just, we all at this point as Democrats have a moral imperative to be sure that we are educating the folks around us to what's really happening. I know that so many people are turned off by politics because they hear all of that stuff, about what's happening at the federal level, and they get tired of it. But for a very, very, very short period of time in this state, every single year, their lives hang in the balance in more than one way. And we have got to get folks paying attention, wake them up, and get them focused on Frankfort.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thanks again. Enjoy the
you.
rest of your evening. Enjoy the rest of the session. And we will be contacting you.
Yes.
I'll be sending you more green slips, and we'll be
Yes.
working to make sure that more folks are in contact with their legislators as well.
Absolutely. Thanks, guys. I appreciate you.
Bye.
Bye.
All right. So next up,
Thank you,
we've got
Cherlynn.
Denise Gray is going to present us with a little bit of Kentucky Black, not so old history. It's almost not even history at all. It's, just news almost.
It's happening now.
It's now.
Just like I say, I am Black history. I am it. Happening every day. So as you all know, this is Black History Month. I just want to give a shout out and make sure that we all know that we should be honoring the Circuit Court Clerk of Clark County, Martha Miller. Martha Miller is the first Black Circuit Court Clerk in the state of Kentucky. She was elected in 2018 to seat. Martha has worked for decades in the county clerk's office, and once the lady who had been holding that office retired, she stepped up. Martha stepped up to become the leader of that office, and we need to just honor her and give her flowers now. So if you all go to her Facebook page and give her a like, because she's doing great work. She's standing up. She's a model citizen. She's doing so much in our community. So kudos to you, Miss Martha, and keep it up.
And I will say, so when I was working for Amy McGrath in Clark County, I talked to Martha a few different times, and she is just wonderful. She is so wonderful. And
she's an awesome woman.
Yeah, truly awesome. And, in it for all the right reasons, wants, government to work for people. She's got a wonderful family that she works very hard to help take care of. And then what was the best part? I remember during that campaign, Andy Barr, of course, is who Amy was running against in 2018, and Andy showed up to I think the line I heard about Andy Barr is he'll show up anytime you put three balloons together. Andy Barr will be there. And so he showed up to some parade, and as people were lining up for the parade, he got in with Martha. He got his photo taken with Martha, and of course went up on his Facebook page immediately. Which Martha was like, "Wait, no, wait, what are you doing? I'm not endorsing you. You cannot use me for your election campaign." So yeah, she's the sweetest woman, but she's fiery. She is fiery, and
yes,
that photo
she will not take any mess.
Yeah.
But yes, I know that. But right there is the Labor Day parade, is what that was. That was the only time that I saw Andy Barr at all.
So
during that election cycle.
You missed him at Pioneer Days because he was there the whole time. That guy, every time I looked up.
I was there
all right, so
the whole time too.
I will say this: we are going to do a section on Kentucky Black political leaders throughout the month. So tune back in to find out more folks who we should be paying attention to and supporting. And
Church of Davis Bowers.
Little teaser there, perhaps, I don't know. But I do want to just say thanks, Denise, for getting that information together. And I think we're going to give it to Kimberly to close us out this evening.
Thank you, Aaron. Next week, we'll be talking about boots on the ground organizing strategy. How do we build an army in support of smarter, more progressive policies? We'll be joined by Progress Kentucky's organizational chair, Kit O'Connor. You do not want to miss that. And are you ready to help turn Kentucky purple? Join Progress Kentucky. We are now very close to 4,000 likes on Facebook, so please go check us out there and like us and invite some of your friends. We will really be appreciative of that. Now, you can go find anything you can find it on Facebook page and share it with your friends. Help spread the word and build the base. You just go on our Facebook page and invite all your friends. Invite them all. And we're still on Act Blue right now. Check us out there as well. Cool news. We've now become wholly independent, as I've been telling you each week. But we are so happy. We are now, although we are still affiliated with Indivisible, They are still our friends, right? But we're fiscally independent, which means more of your donation goes directly to Progress Kentucky to continue this work that must be done. Once again, thank you, Ken at Couchfire Media, for producing. Couchfire Media ignites multi-camera, live stream, fiction, narrative, nonfiction, educational, informative, animation, and commercial video production content. So set your content on fire with couchfiremedia.com. Thank you, Nate, for the theme song. Thank you, Nate, for the new song tonight. You can find more music from Nate at natosongs.com. That's Nato songs.com. Make sure, I have to make sure that you know this because I know you guys love us so much. So you want to see us at any point in time that you can. So you can start each week, every other week, I believe. Miss Denise Gray's Kentucky Conversations. Her next show will be on February the 14th. Please tune in and get involved there. You can watch the replay also on the Bluegrass Activist Alliance Facebook page or at Denise Gray's public figure page. You do not want to miss her. I'm telling you, I look at it and I love that show. I truly do. And you will as well. And of course, I would be amiss if I didn't say that you can always watch the Jones Report every Sunday at 1 p.m. with Mike Breuer, Betsy Foster, our production guy, Mr. Ken Howell, and of course, yours truly. The Jones Report will be live at 1 o'clock every Sunday at the Jones Report radio program page on Facebook. Thank you tonight to Representative Cherlynn Stevenson. She was wonderful. She answered a lot of questions and notes that I had. And thank you, Denise. Thank you, Aaron. Thank you, Mr. Doug Price. Thank you, Ken. Thank you, viewers, and we'll see you next week.